Let me. Okay. So let us look at a few endgame rules today. Okay, and with some examples. Okay.
I have something to say.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I think in this position, White is like winning because he has the extra pawn.
Yes, but slightly, I will just slightly change the thing. He is winning because he has an outside extra pawn. Okay, if the pawn instead of on a5, if it was on e5, then it would be a draw. Okay, then it would be just the pawns are all together here on the king side only. Then black would be able to defend it. But because the pawn is on the a file so much away, then you are right. Your evaluation is right. White is winning this. Okay, but because of an extra pawn and it's an outside passed pawn. All right. So we'll see this. So yeah, so if you look at it, I think so one of the principles of endgame is centralization. Okay, because why it is centralization is so much important, more important in the endgame actually than in the middle game, if pawns are there on both sides of the board, because from the center only you can go to this side or you can go to that side, and unless you come to the center, you will always be at a disadvantage, right? So here the whole point is white wants to reach the center, dominate the center, and after that what will happen if white king establishes himself on, let us say, ideal condition for him is go on d5. Okay, white's king is trying to go on to d5. What would happen if he is going to go to d5? Can you imagine and just think in your head and see what will happen, how the game will proceed if white king manages to reach d5?
He can reach the a8 square.
He
Yeah,
can defend its pawn and attack the black's pawn.
rook, yeah, right. From d5, he can go to c5 and b6 or whatever, b5, and drive away the rook and also advance with his king and escort his pawn to become a queen, right? That is a very big threat if the king manages to reach d5. Okay, so let us see. Black is trying to prevent the king from reaching this advantageous square, right? So let us see what happens. So white starts, black also starts. White tries to come up, black comes. White comes to e3. Now black comes to d5. Okay, see, black is trying to prevent the king from, and white king goes to d3. Okay, white king does not even get to d4. Okay, because black actively, and it's a good move. Okay, he has to prevent it. Only thing is that white has got some extra thing. So it looks as if right now at least black has prevented. So now what to do? Because now there was an opposition, right? But
Yeah. So when the black king moves and tries to get the pawn, the outside pass pawn,
yeah,
White can bring his king and eat up all the other three pawns.
yeah,
Actually, no, the
actually,
rook supports
yeah,
the
rook
pawn.
actually more than the king, because king if it comes, then the black rook will protect the g6 pawn and white king will not be able to, but white will be able to get his rook. Okay, that is what we'll see now. Interesting. Okay, so white.
Black can't lose a move because if he moves the rook, then white will raise a pawn a step.
Yeah, exactly. If the
White gets
black rook
decided
moves down to say a8, then white will advance his pawn further, right? So that is what it will happen. So, but now it is at a position juncture. Now what should do? White is holding the opposition. Black is prevented the king from centralization. Now, what should black do now?
Can't black do the triangulation?
Triangulation you can do when the other side does not have the moves. So what happens is here white has got a lot of moves. So I will show you what it means. How tell me what you want black to play, and I will tell you.
King d5.
King d5 if you play, white will go to b4.
Then king e4.
King e4.
Huh.
White, you are saying black king wants to come down, huh? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
White king will go to b5.
Rook A8.
Rook 8. Okay, all right. So rook 8, then A6. Okay, why don't we do this on the chessboard? Okay, why don't we do this on the chessboard? So let me just remember the position it is. Okay, right now the kings are at c5 and c3. Okay, so fine. Let me put this position only. Okay, to board editor, or we'll put the thing clear board. Original position king was here and white king was here, I believe. Rook was where here, a2 or something. It doesn't really. Yeah, this was the position and white to play, right? Yeah, this is where it was. And okay, so who was saying something now? So someone was saying king to e5, huh? Sorry, king to d5, then king to b4, then you said king to e5, e4, then I said here, then you said rook here,
Rook A8.
right? Rook here, I will be happy to push e6.
Okay, yeah. The
Sir,
king
rook
is too
B8
slow.
check.
Rook b8 check.
Yeah, no, this is hopeless.
After that, king is coming to b7. If your rook moves, then it is coming to b7 or c7. Yeah.
And just take the pawn and then try to promote.
No,
After clearing the white pawn.
No, which pawn will you take?
No, with the black rook, the pawn on a6.
Now?
If it no, if it tries to advance, like
No. What should black play now? It is the last game.
rook 8.
Rook 8,
but
king
then
b7.
king B8. No, sorry, B7. It's hopeless.
Okay.
Finished it is.
I mean, either way,
No, but this
black
is
always
so much
gets
obviously
outflanked.
finished, right? So much obviously finished, right? This is obviously
Yeah,
finished.
it's
You
you
can't-
get outflanked either way.
The king b5.
King b5, right? King b5. Then
King C4. Sorry, King D4.
king d4.
Yeah, King D4.
What is the idea now? Can you see the idea?
You trade the rooks and then rush over to
Yeah.
Yeah,
G6.
you take the g6 pawn.
Yeah, if black takes it, it's an immediate last game because take, that's it. Your these pawns are all getting cleared up completely, right? That's the whole idea of the outside pass pawn. So black will not dare take the pawn. He cannot take it with the king. He cannot take it with the thing. But he tries to defend. That is right. So here at this point of time, maybe black should simply give some check or something like this. But even checking here will not help. So maybe black should do something like this. But then white king will come here, right?
So can't white raise the pawn if black keeps the rook there?
Can white not?
Raise the pawn if black keeps the rook there at f6.
Okay, yeah, that also you can do it. I think you can do it. I think
It works. You can't really do anything.
yeah, you cannot really. You
No,
cannot.
because after trading the rooks, then the white king can destroy the pawns. Yeah, come back to g6 like we saw directly exchanging.
Yeah, true. So yeah, so I think so. Let us go back. I will show you what is the line that is there. So actually here, black king rook goes to a8. Okay, prevent. What the thing is, if white king goes to d5, then king b4. Yeah, like we saw, right? It is, and if king c6, if black king comes back, then also it does not help. If king goes to e4, we already saw king b5, right? Here this wins. If king goes back to c6, not allowing the thing, then white has got a beautiful move, rook to e2. Okay, rook to e2. And what is the idea? Rook to e6 check, followed by taking the g6 pawn. And once the g6 pawn falls, then the rook will come to g5, and one of the other two pawns will also fall.
So you can't take the g6 pawn, you have to trade rooks, right?
No. What will happen is, so idea, okay, see here.
Why not king to d5?
Not king to d5, then rook e5 check will come. Okay.
Then king to d4.
I'll show you. We'll see all the variations. Okay. First is, okay, if king comes to d6, then white king goes to b5. Right? Then rook is attacked, so rook goes back, then pawn pushes.
But instead of a6, why don't we go king b6?
No, just hold on. See this line. Okay, it will come be apparent. So now the rook comes here, but white rook now protects the king, and then black is trying to prevent the trying to prevent the pawn from queening, and now king has to go to d7. If he goes to b8, then what will happen? Rook to c6, and now he's protecting the pawn and then going to take the g6 pawn. Right? White will come get this. So king has to go to d7 now, and if king goes to d7, then rook c4. Okay, so this is what does this remind you of something? Why rook to c4?
To prevent rook a1, I mean to block.
So this is like the bridge. So if rook goes to here, then you are going to give it. And now the black king is 2 steps away, right? So black king cannot really now cannot really come and prevent it, the pawn. So first of all, I mean, it is rook who is I mean, black has to decide whether to take the rook or not to take the rook. If black takes the rook, then what happens? Then it's a simple win. Black will be diverted to the a6 and white king will run to g6. Right? So black is not ready to exchange the rooks, but then your pawn a7 pawn goes. Okay, even if the this is gone. So this was one idea. Let us go back. What had happened is that this was the position. Let's go back. Okay, if black king goes to, if black rook actually goes to a8, but we are looking at a variation where black king goes to d5. Okay, then king b4, and then black king comes to c6 again. He does not go. If he goes to e4, then king b5 wins, and then rook to e2 here. This is a very, very, very clever move, because king to c6. If king goes to, anyway, if rook takes it, then rook cannot take the pawn, and white is threatening to give the check, exchange the rooks. After that, again, white is going to win it easily. So black king goes to, if black king had gone to b7 here, then white rook gives the check. Let the king go to b8, then rook g7. Attack the pawn from behind. And now the white king is also going to come up. Yeah. Black rook goes back. White pawn comes here. And now is the chance for white rook to, if white rook takes the pawn, then what will happen?
No. Now black can give a check, right?
Black can give a check, but what will happen after that?
Then king to e6.
King to e6, correct.
And then black can check again.
Black can check again. And then what will happen is white king will go to
f7. Yeah.
Yeah, so can't black keep on checking?
No.
No, then you go to g8 and then h7.
Yeah.
Okay.
right? So rook comes here, then rook to e7. Then now white is threatening. If you come to f6, then I will put my rook to e6 and force you to exchange, right? So black again goes back, and rook to e6 now. So now black gives the check. See, now white king comes here. Now check again, and white king goes to e7. And if white if black exchanges, then anyway white is winning, right? Because he's hitting the g6. So if black does not want to exchange, give the check, then king to f8. Now black cannot give a check. Black cannot prevent cannot protect the g7 pawn. G7 pawn is gone. Sorry, g6 pawn is gone, and after that, one of the other two pawns will also be lost, right? So beautiful way. Yeah. So this would have happened. Okay, let's go back. I think all the variations are worth exploring in this position. Okay, let's go back. Here it is clear, right? How it is winning after this. White is winning clearly, right? So let's go back. Let's go back. Black here had played king to d5. Instead of that, if black can play king to b5 also, right? King to b5, then king to d4. Again, we saw that they cannot kill the pawn. So rook will come and maybe give a check. That's what I think Madhura or someone was saying, right? Then king to e5. Okay. King to e5. Rook goes back to his defensive thing, and now rook to d2. Now what is white threatening here? If king takes the pawn, then rook to a2 check followed by exchange of the rooks. If rook takes the pawn, then rook to d5 check followed by exchange of the rooks. So black cannot take the pawn in any way. So black has to simply maybe play something like this. Then first give a check. Now again you are going to threaten exchange of the rooks or take the g6 pawn. Right? What can black do? Black goes here, then rook to d6 now. Threatening to exchange the rooks. Now, okay, you take this pawn, but king goes here, and now again the g6 pawn is falling, no matter what you do. So first, okay, here this is a very instructive thing. Okay, at this position, black does not immediately take the pawn, which is there for him, but he gives a check, and this is a very important concept in endgame. Okay, when you can give something and you can see the kings are standing in opposition to each other. Now, if a black rook gives a check down the b file, black will have to go further away from the pawns. He will have to go to the a file, and white takes a time to do this because anyway he is going to win the pawn, but he just does this intermediate move. Right now, here it may not make a whole lot of difference, but in so many end games, this kind of a move is the crux which makes a difference between a draw and a win. Okay, so remember this thing. So here, when everything is sure, white is simply going to grab the black pawn, but it takes time. Takes time to give a check and makes black's position even worse. Because now the king is on a file, it is even worse because he will take one extra move now to reach this side. So what happens is after this, yeah, this is all gone, right? After this, right? So let us go back. There are some again things here. Instead of rook to d6 check, if king comes to b4, okay, what if the king comes to b4? Then what black is saying is that, oh, again rook to b2. It is in the kings are in opposition, so white takes this point to move this here. After this, yeah, exchange. Now you take the pawn, I will take the g6 pawn, right? So king to b4 does not help. What about rook to e6? What if black physically prevents the thing? Then simply a6, right? A6 is also a clean idea for white anyway. So Okay, one more variation, rook to d6. After this, king had gone to e5 and rook had gone back to a6. Rook to d2 we said, and king to c5. If instead, yeah, rook to, I think we had seen this. Okay, any one of them takes the pawn, then rook is going to give us a check and exchange the rook. So yeah, I think we have seen almost the entire endgame. I think all the variations. And any questions? Any questions in this? Brilliant, right? I mean, this is something. Yeah, 2 minutes left. We are going to stop after this and rejoin back in 4 minutes time. Okay, but let me know. Is this clear? This endgame is clear. It is very, very instructive. It is actually a simple endgame, but still there are so many concepts to be learned and understood and imbibed in this. Yeah, so go after this. Look at this again. Go through these entire variations again. You have access to this, so please go through it and master it. The best idea, whether you have mastered it or not, is to play this against the computer, because it's so clear a win that you should keep playing against the computer till you can win the computer against at a level 8 only chess. Yeah. Uday, so you wanted tips on how to improve, right? Yeah. Now that you have understood, now that everything you have learned it, now you have to see whether you have mastered it, and that you have to do it by practicing against the computer. Endgame ke liye practicing against the computer is the best thing. Okay, because you first know the theory. Oh, this position I should win it. Then can I win it against any defense? Right? So yeah. So what I'll do is I'll stop the recording.